Welcome, everybody. I am Watson, and this is my new podcast, Scary Movies and Coffee, where we're going to do weekly podcasts on horror movies and do horror movie reviews. So, sit tight, grab the popcorn, crack a cold one, and we're going to start with episode 001, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. So, if you aren't familiar with Dr. Caligari, it's a 1920s silent horror film. Yes, it was silent. I'm not too fond on silent films, in all honesty, but back in that day, it was the thing. That would be like the bygone era, really. They had Nosferatu, and then I believe they had The Laughing Man. The Laughing Man was a silent film. It wasn't that bad, but The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari was one of my favorite that caught my attention, and I didn't see it until my adult years. Started watching horror movies in about the 4th grade. Scream 2, The Hellraisers, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween were the ones I was exposed to, and that caught my attention. But as I started progressing, I started getting to want to know about the classics, such as the Universal Monsters, Vincent Price movies. The Vincent Price movies, really, we're going to do a whole podcast on Vincent Price movies and Vincent Price himself. I had a coworker at my job at the time, was really into the old-time horror movies. He lent me out a VHS tape, and I looked at it. For some reason, oddly, the VHS tape on The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari said 1919. So I was like, And then you look up on Wikipedia. I'm looking at it right now. It says 1920. The movie wasn't released until February 26, 1920, in Germany. For some reason, the VHS is 1919. That's fun. I was like, what? So I put it in. It was just silent, but it grabbed my attention. It just grabbed my attention. The visuals, the darkness of it. It's just the characters even too. This thing was unbelievably art to me. That's how I was feeling. It was like art. If you're not familiar with Dr. Caligari, it's a dark silent movie. I would recommend to watch it. It's here on YouTube. I can leave the link below. It has ads, but at least you'll get the gist of it. The art style of it, it's just, the whole thing's a work of art, really. And it has to be the true horror movie. Even Roger Ebert said this is the first true horror film, and it is. I have to truly agree with that. Dr. Caligari, it's just genius writing on it. About a mysterious man, and then he has Caesar. He's asleep, I'm saying in quotes, in a coffin, and he'll ask you questions, and someone asks, how long shall I live, that kind of thing, and they end up dead. So it's what? Yeah, I don't know, it's pretty weird. Is this guy a corpse? You're trying to figure out the secrets of this film, and there's scenes in there that makes it you can see the inspiration for slasher films, or Psycho itself, Albert Hitchcock's Psycho. I see there's I can't get my words out because I'm so excited talking about this. You can see where it reflects from, where it all started, kind of deal. Because the scene where the town clerk mocks Caligari and approves him for his permit that he was getting at the town office. Then that night, the clerk's found stabbed to death in bed. Like some like shadow figure pops in there, and it's like it was a slasher film. And for that time, that's pretty shocking. Think about it, like 1919 is the year it was getting filmed. It didn't finish filming until like January of 1920, and didn't get released until February of 1920. So like it was really different, and that's why I think it's became like an iconic movie, despite it being like kind of like a. It's not dull. I'm not gonna say it's dull at all. It's a silent film, but it's not silent. If you know what I'm trying to say, like if you follow what I'm trying to say here, is like you watch it, it puts you in a trance, and you're like, oh, like all the imagery, all the scenes, the characters. You get drawn into the story. It's progressing. Although there's no words spoken in it. It's just like the music, the characters. It's worth the watch. If you didn't see it, you're a horror film fan, and you like the vintage horror, it's totally what I would want to watch. Like that movie puts it all on the plate. Like it has the slashers, it got the suspense, it got the sketchy characters, it has the scenery. Even it's like a gothic looking scenery. It's just a dark movie in general. Like that's what you want, right? So, and Dr. Caligari did it. You know, I think it is definitely like one of the best movies I've seen, and still to this day, like they couldn't even like top a sequel. They wanted to do a sequel back in the day, like in the 40s. I think that's how if I'm not mistaken, I read that on Wikipedia somewhere, but usually Wikipedia is not a really reliable source. They tried to, and I guess it didn't work out for them because someone bought rights to the movie, I believe. I'm just looking real quick, but I know in 1989 they had like some Dr. Caligari type movie come out, and I guess it was supposed to be the sequel or a remake, one or the other. I think it was supposedly, it was same title. It was 1989, and I think it was supposed to be a prequel. That's what I think it was. And then they had like a mock, like a copycat type movie almost of it. I believe, like, I think that was called, yeah, that was The Cabinet of Dr. Ramirez. It was loosely based on Caligari. That's right. So, yeah, that was in 1992. It was a sequel called just Dr. Caligari in 89. That's what I'm thinking of. All right, but that one was like way off. Yeah, that was nothing. I didn't really like that one. But it was an influential movie, and I like it. Like some people got different opinions. Others, the guy that lent it to me, he was like, about it. But, you know, it's like one of those movies, though. I'm going to, like, probably, like, watch it tonight. That's, like, because I'm so amped up about it. It's like a movie you would turn the lights off, just have the TV light hit in your face, have, like, a beverage there, and just sit there and enjoy the scenery, the music, and try to, like, you know, like, take it all in. It's definitely a 9 out of 10 in my scale. So, like, if you didn't see it and you're listening, I would recommend to look it up. Like I said, I'll put the link below for the YouTube one. I'm pretty sure it's the whole movie. But, like, just, like, it definitely got 9 out of 10 with it's a 98, like, from Rotten Tomatoes. Like, this movie had it all, you know? Just for being a silent film back in, like, I like to call the bygone era. I don't know, it's what everything you want it to be, especially a classic movie that not a lot of people really heard of, but they did hear of it, if you know what I'm trying to say. Like, because it had so much influence in the modern day, in the coming years after the movie was made, too, on other movies. Like, you could see, I feel like Tim Burton took the inspiration of it for his scenery. Like, I saw on Cinnamon Massacre how he did his for the 100th anniversary of Caligari. He pointed out that Tim Burton has like the same kind of scenery. Like the windows aren't square; they look like they're pointing somewhere. The buildings were, like had that weird shape. It looks like that in like Beetlejuice. So it's like, yeah, it had some influence. Like he pointed out how the System of a Down self-titled album has like that hand, and it was a scene from Dr. Caligari. He's like, I wouldn't be surprised if they got it from that, which I wouldn't either. There's a huge legacy with it, and I feel like it was like one of the first horror films, and it was like the first real one for sure. It has to be. And I feel like in the time periods, as time goes on, a lot of people didn't know how to react to it. And it's all good. But I'm probably scared the crap out of people too, I could imagine. Same goes for like Nosferatu. Like it was a weird creature looking vampire, so you gotta think about it this way. So I want everyone, if you didn't see this movie, to go watch it. I want you in the comments to tell me. I'm sorry that I'm all over the place and I'm doing and talking quick and stuttering. This is my first podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you go watch this movie and tell me all your thoughts, unless you've already seen it. It'd be great. I want to know what you think of it. Down below, I'll leave the link for the movie. I'll leave the link also for my Buy Me a Coffee. It's like a Patreon type thing. I want to get this channel really up and going. I'm going to do an episode every week. Maybe do twice a week if I get enough response to it. So leave the comments, hit the like button on the way out. Be sure to subscribe for the weekly horror talk. I'm going to be doing movie reviews as well. So let me do my final thoughts on Dr. Caligari since we're on our way out. I think it is definitely the true first horror movie. I keep repeating myself with that. It's definitely a 9 out of 10. I'm not going to give it a straight 10 though, because I'm not really big on the silent film. It's not what killed it. But it was fantastic for its what it was in its time. And I believe that it did influence a lot of horror nowadays. And if it wasn't for the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, I think a lot of horror movies today wouldn't exist. So it's a 9 out of 10 here on Scary Movies and Coffee. Tune in next week. We're going to talk about another movie. I may this week throw in a movie review as well. So hit that subscribe. And I will catch you all next week. Later.